Thank you. I'm excited to be following the doctor. He's got a lot more in-depth information than I do on this one, so I'll do my best to follow up with that. But yeah, my name is Dallin Young. I am with our Blue Water Government Affairs is my company, and we work on cannabis legalization regulations all throughout San Diego County and throughout the state. So we really try to take all the different research and everything that's out there and help educate elected officials and the public on cannabis, and help try to put that into policy that will allow this to kind of be furthered both for research purposes and for consumption for folks. So yeah, the doctor talked about I guess the chemical makeup and a whole bunch of other things around it. I'm here just to talk about I guess where we're at as an industry, how you can gain access to some of these, and I guess the legal and regulatory side of cannabis. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. First off, just how this all got started, where we're at, where we came from. The doctor mentioned that California actually started the compassionate use of cannabis back in 1996 with Prop 215. That allowed for the medical use of cannabis for sales and cultivation of that, but it was still pretty rocky for a long time because cannabis is still federally illegal, which really inhibits any funding for research or just larger research studies that are available. In 2016, Prop 64 passed that allowed for the adult use or recreational sales of cannabis to begin in 2018. So between the passage of Prop 64 in 2016 until adult use sales were allowed in 2018, there was a lot of different changes taking place on the regulatory side, both at the state and local level. Especially at the state, they tried to clarify some of the rules around the passage of Prop 64 and dial it in with some of the other legislation that they already had on the books. And one of those was the MRSA, which is what has helped funding the doctor's research there. So all kind of tied together. The main concerns that we've been dealing with around legalization and regulations is all the ones listed there. So public safety issues. This is since a lot of the previous businesses that have been around have existed in kind of a gray / black / sometimes legal marketplace. When it comes to public safety, this is primarily around because this was in the gray market and a lot of it in the black market. These operations weren't able to call the police if there were any issues, and so they had to have armed security guards and all that kind of stuff on site, which made it seem which kind of caused a lot of tension around these locations and really I think scared some people into dealing with them. And so when we're talking about legalization and moving things forward, public safety or crime around these locations is always one of the biggest concerns. This has really been addressed in the legal market because we do have access to public resources around, being able to call the sheriff or the police departments if there's any suspected crime activity going to take place, all that kind of stuff. We've actually seen a huge decrease in potential crime or public safety issues around legal licensed places because they're a lot more regulated. They have 24-hour security, 24-hour footage and security footage. So we've actually seen it go the other way, in that these facilities do bring a level of safety to the neighboring businesses and the areas themselves. The second part is in public health. So because we do not have a lot of large-scale tests or studies around the use of cannabis, we're getting there. We're doing a lot better, but traditionally we haven't really had those, and so it does bring a level of questions around public health. But the difference between the legal marketplace versus the illicit marketplace is that all of the products, before they hit the licensed retail facilities, long before it hits those shelves, they go through rigorous testing to make sure that there is no mold, mildew, heavy metals, any type of chemicals that could be harmful. In fact, cannabis products are some of the most regulated and most tested products that are out for consumption on the market today. So we've really been able to get away from not knowing what's in this product to knowing, with a good level of assuredness that what is in these products. And that's because of the testing that's in the legal marketplace. Youth use, that's another one of the biggest concerns, is that because we have been in the black market and the illicit market, it's been a little bit more accessible for our youth to get a hold of. A lot of these businesses, they know they're going to get shut down. Sorry, illicit businesses know they're going to get shut down pretty quickly, and so they necessarily don't care about who is getting a hold of these products. They're just trying to get rid of as much of it as possible before they have to shut down and potentially move to a new location. We haven't seen any of these complaints or any of these issues in the legal marketplace. It's because it takes millions of dollars to acquire and gain one of these licenses, and so many folks are not going to risk selling to anybody that they shouldn't be, for a quick buck, because it costs so much to actually get one of these licenses. So concerns about youth use rates have not been attributed to legal marketplace sales. So that's another thing that we're not really seeing any negative issues about. The other main concern is, where do these go? And this leads me into, where do these businesses exist? Where should we put them for public to gain access and use them? And this goes into the next portion of it, which is kind of the different uses and everything. But when we talk about where they should go, this is land use. This is a lot of, should they go around other commercial type of, or retail type of businesses, or do they go into the city's industrial areas that are more for manufacturing, a little bit more off the beaten path? That's traditionally where they've been and where we're trying to get away from, and bring these to commercial zones where they're a lot more easily accessible. These are the types of activities and licenses that exist in the legal marketplace. I won't, go too much into depth into this, but these are the different licenses that exist. Retail is the one that most people are familiar with. That is, dispensaries and delivery services. So those are the main two that are public facing. Manufacturing is turning the cultivated product, or the actual grown plants, turns them into other different types of products, or does extractions, all that kind of stuff. That's one different type of license. Cultivation is the growth of them. I just have these dollars on there as tax rates, which we'll get into in a little bit, about some of the issues that we're facing in the industry. And then distribution is basically the movement of the cultivated product to the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer to the retail. Distribution license is its own type of operation. Then we have testing, which is probably the least controversial aspect of the legal marketplace, and that if this is going to be sold, we need to know what's in it. We need to know that it's safe for everybody. So testing, those exist as well, and are necessary for any of the products in order to reach the shelves. They have to go through one of these testing facilities. And then lastly is micro businesses, where one business can basically do 3 of these other license types under one roof. Okay, so when it comes to local laws and why these aren't necessarily available in every jurisdiction, location. Some cities would like to have cannabis businesses, but because of issues regarding stereotypes and other groups of people that might not want these to exist, these are put into industrial zones, which are once again off the beaten path, harder to get to. But this is how local governments are able, or this is how they dictate what is legal, what type of businesses can be allowed, and where they're putting them. It all comes down to land use. And there's sensitive use requirements. So these businesses cannot exist within the state requirement is they can't be 600 feet from a school, daycare, or youth-oriented facility. So when any of these businesses are trying to find a property to open up a business, they have to go through all of these different criteria and make sure that their building is not within 600 feet. In the city of San Diego, for example, that's 1,000 feet. So they have to do a lot of legwork to know what is around them business-wise, so they cannot risk getting their license application rejected. So these right here are why it's really hard to bring cannabis licensing into every jurisdiction. As you can see there, those are the different cities in San Diego County that have regulations. There are 7 of 18 right now that there are only 7 of 18 cities in the county of San Diego that allow for any type of cannabis businesses. Overall in the county, where there are 3.4 million people in the entire county, we have less than 100 cannabis businesses that are open and operating since Prop 64 passed 4 years ago. So we still have a lot of work to do to make sure that there's access for everybody, and for that these products can be available to everybody.